you made your bones, and developed your surfing skills in Chicago, a very well-known surfing.
Lake Michigan, they're just Michigan. Gnarly waves of Lake Michigan.
Some of the greatest surfers from that area, of course. Obviously that's not true. And at what point did you discover surfing? Because you grew up in Chicago, I believe.
Yes, I grew up in Chicago. I moved to LA in the 90s. And I just kind of would boogie board. And I had this dumb idea that, you got to grow up surfing. So I didn't grow up, so I can't do it, which was dumb. And two things happened to me. One, I was shooting a commercial for DirecTV, and I had just moved to Santa Monica. I was very close. I was like 4 blocks from the beach.
Yeah.
And one of the camera guys says, you're this close to the beach. You're going to learn how to surf. And I was like, I don't know. I know how to boogie board. And he goes, yeah, nobody ever picked up a chick with a boogie board under their arm. I was like, okay, I'm going to start taking surfing lessons. And then it really hit me in 2006. I went to Afghanistan for the second time to do a comedy tour for the military. This very kind of crazy one. I was on a helicopter that came under fire. We saw wounded people. They took us into a hospital, saw kids and wounded. And it really kind of rattled me. It's why I'm so vehemently anti-war. And I came back. I was on a helicopter that came under fire April 27th of 2006.
Yeah.
And we almost got blown out of the sky. So I came back, and a buddy of mine was like, hey, I'm just going to take a surf lesson. Do you want to? And I was like, you got it. And then that whole summer, all I did was surf, because I just had seen some pretty awful images of war. And that was it. By the end of the summer, we were sitting on the beach, me and my 2 buddies. One was a comedy writer, and one was a guy that does AV stuff, and he used to play pro hockey. And I went, I get it. And they went, what? I go, why people just check out and become surfers. It's the most beautiful, at one with nature. If you're stressed out or you've got PTSD or whatever, when you're on a wave, there's literally nothing else you're thinking of.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You could be sitting on your board and thinking about bills or whatever, but when you catch a wave, you are riding the energy of the earth. And I've done skiing and snowboarding, those are all fun sports, but you have to get a lift ticket and this and that. You buy a surfboard, that's it. That's your purchase. And a wetsuit if you're in an area where you need a wetsuit, but that's it. So you're out, you can, for under $300-400, if you play it cheap, you can surf, and you can just go every day whenever it's doable. And then you're outside. And then I really fell in love with the California surf and beach culture. And
how does El Salvador rate for surfing? You've been surfing in Hawaii and California, so you've sort of surfed a lot of different places. How does it rate?
It's amazing. The surfing here, first of all, the water is really warm, so you never need a wetsuit, which is great. And there's a really great surf culture that's been here for a long time, and you see that in cities like El Zonte and El Tunco, and even surfing. So there's a good community of surf. You see, and in El Tunco, where I'm staying, there's a lot of surf schools there, and there's a lot of really young Salvadorian surfers that are really good. And I think now that the surf competitions are coming here, thanks to Bukele, they're seeing, I can become a pro surfer. Because there's kids out there ripping, man.
Right.
They are I'm seeing 10, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids ripping. And so the surfing is great. There's really good surfing. And because it's mainly a south-facing coastline, but because like any coastline, you have sometimes the breaks face a little east or a little west or whatever. So you can then, what that does is bring in different swell directions, which then gives surfers a consistency of there's always a good wave to ride.
Right.
And that's what makes you a really good surfer. And I've surfed Costa Rica, I've surfed Brazil, I've surfed 4 different islands in Hawaii. And Hawaii is that's the gold star. That's some of the best surfing in the world. This is very close.
Really?
This is really, and in the summer when the swells come, that's it's really, there's good surfing here and good surfers, and it attracts surf traveling. I see surf tourists that are really good surfers because it's a global thing. I've been surfing in the wild, and I hear, there's Aussies, there's, Argentinians, there's people from all over the world that are really good surfers, and they're coming here because they know it's that good. The waves are that good.
Yeah, Bo, who runs the Garten Hotel, he's a surfer. And one time I saw him looking out into the ocean really intently. I'm like, "Oh, what's going on up there?" And he said, "They're coming." I'm like, "What's coming?" He said, 6 seconds between waves. Another 3 weeks, it'll be perfect wave season, perfect surfing season. Like, he was like, "Okay, Bob." Cowabunga or whatever. All right, buddy. Surf's up.